Hello YouTubies, this is Joker Scribe and thanks for watching one of my amazing YouTube videos. Right, I've got some exciting updates to say. First thing I'd like to say is I've opened up a Dailymotion account, and for this I want to upload some of my more imaginative and philosophical porn reviews. Of course, they will have special guests from YouTube, and somebody on Dailymotion sometimes might come up onto the videos too that I'll be uploading. It will be something about porn reviews and the philosophical way we think as men. You know, we create things in our heads. We are real artists out there, and we have to promote this stuff because I think us men are being shown as being the scum of the world when actually we're very creative in our thinking. And I think people out there have to understand that. So I've uploaded a Dailymotion account for this comedy style or porn reviews. If YouTube doesn't always agree with some of the porn reviews, of course, they might be a little bit too sizzling hot for the channel. However, for Dailymotion, they are not. And I think Dailymotion does have a sort of, it's not there on YouTube because, of course, more or less everybody is using YouTube. More or less everybody who has internet connection knows of YouTube. So YouTube is big, it's just there. But Dailymotion is also coming up in the ranks. Let me explain something to people out there. You've got YouTube and you've got Dailymotion. Now YouTube is so big that it gets any bigger, it's going to collapse under its own weight. I mean, it's not really going to expand anymore. I think it's reached its full capacity. Unless the population continues to increase in the world, that's the only way for YouTube to get bigger. So it's not really got it hasn't got any more markets to actually exploit. However, Dailymotion does have new markets to go into because it's still growing. And I noticed something when I was on Dailymotion is that it now has quite a big community. I didn't realize how big it was, but the last time I went on, videos were only getting like 1 or 2 views, like 10 views or something like that. Then something happened. I think it must have been early this year or last year when the view count almost got as good as some videos on YouTube. They were getting millions of views for certain things. And I think people do use Dailymotion as a sort of secondary site to YouTube. So it has the advantage. Now, another thing that has the advantage in is that it's growing. And because it's growing, it's in its early days. It's people getting to know it. They're getting to know some of the community guidelines and how it works and how it's a little bit more lenient than YouTube is on certain things, although YouTube is still excellent. I'm not moaning about YouTube. YouTube has some excellent features. But with Dailymotion, there are a few extra features that I really like. There's a couple of things I don't like, but there's a few things which I think might actually enable it to be a real threat at some point to YouTube. Let me explain. The comments, for one thing, 500 character limit on YouTube, 5,000 on Dailymotion, and the sort of what do you call them now? Characters that they use are more clear on Dailymotion. It's a little bit more clear, although it's very difficult to actually respond, but people know when you've actually responded to them. It's just a little bit unusual, but it does have a comment section. You do have to navigate a little bit, but it's not quite as tedious as some of the versions of YouTube. Another thing is the community guidelines. They are far more lenient. For instance, several videos that I did on there would not be accepted on YouTube. I know certainly one of them wouldn't be accepted because it's happened before. But on Dailymotion, they were flagged. Nothing happened. They just got, sectioned under explicit content. And because it has a +18 on Dailymotion, guess what? They're far more lenient. So you're allowed to show boobs, you're allowed to show things not too explicit, but just sort of sexual. you can get away with far more on Dailymotion than you can get away on YouTube. You can rip the piss on Dailymotion. On YouTube, you're begging for a bruising if you try it too much. But you can actually rip the piss on YouTube too. You can swear, you can make a few porn reviews, like, but they're bound to be flagged down. So there you go. Difference on Dailymotion. So I think it does have an advantage there. So I don't understand why people are not using it as much, because there's certainly community there, but it just feels like it's sort of people just using it to upload videos and connecting it to other sites. But I do see views. I do see more views on Dailymotion than sometimes I did on YouTube. So what is the difference? Why is there a big difference? I think it just all comes down to the fact that YouTube was here first. And there's a few issues with Dailymotion. Just a few issues. If they sort it out, it'll be just as good as YouTube. I don't like the beginning phase of the videos, but you can. I don't have adverts on my Dailymotion account, so when you actually watch them, it comes on more or less straight away. So there's no messing around. You're not coming onto Dailymotion and suddenly you go watch a whole bunch of adverts, or you have to skip them, etc. It's just straight there, no problem at all. It starts within a second. But you do get this little intro from Dailymotion, like an aerial going up in the sky, go boop 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 boop. Yeah, I don't like that too much, but it's part of the community, so it's got to be allowed. I think where it does really stand out is the difference between the community guidelines compared to YouTube. It is a little bit more acceptable, and they do allow you to rip the piss even more on Dailymotion. This is why people have opened up Dailymotion accounts. They're trolled on that because it has some type of advantage. I don't think people actually realize how big Dailymotion has got. You say, oh, it's nowhere near as big as YouTube. Well, yeah, of course it's nowhere near as big, because YouTube is at its maximal capacity now. However, it's closing the gap. It's at least 1,000 times bigger now than it was last year. That's Dailymotion. And if they keep on doing that, they're going to catch up with YouTube at some point. And I'm sure, based on some of the views on that particular site, that people are going to start noticing and uploading some of their own videos. I don't see much about it nowadays, but I think it's going to happen. So I just thought I would actually say that on this video and see what you guys think. But anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.